Hi there, my name is Ash and I like to draw. But do you know what else I like? Pokémon! And spooky shit! Pokémon is one of the cutest things ever. Even the biggest, scariest, meanest looking monsters are still essentially your pets in game, and they are all designed to look fun and endearing, even if in very different ways and for, acquired tastes sometimes. The Pokédex, on the other hand, is a little bit of a different story. There's tons of videos out there going through some of the more messed up and creepy Pokédex entries, but a lot of them, like the infamous Parasect and Gorabyss entries, can be boiled down to that's just nature. Ghost Pokémon are a bit of a different story though. Given that it's rarely made clear what exactly these creatures are, a lot of their Pokédex entries read more like folklore, local myths and urban legends than actual studies. Their names, descriptions and designs are also made specifically to bring to mind all manners of boogeymen and monsters from cultures all over the world. But at the end of the day, they're still Pokémon, so they're still pretty dang cute. But what if they weren't? What if we took their names, their designs, their descriptions, and the legends in the Pokédex at face value and really tried to turn them into actual spooky ghosts? Well, that's my challenge this Halloween. I picked 3 ghost Pokémon, and I'm going to do my damnedest to make them as scary as possible. So let's get drawing. Let's begin with looking at Phantump from Gen 6, probably about as cute as a ghost Pokémon can get. I mean, just look at this little guy. Just a cartoony ghost with a big goofy wooden helmet on that is constantly making this kind of wide-eyed surprised expression. He looks like a Deku scrub who was just told something really cool. How can you not love him? Well, I'm sure many of you are already familiar with this guy's Pokédex entry, and man, is it sad. According to old tales, these Pokémon are stumps possessed by the spirits of children who died while lost in the forest. By imitating the voice of a child, it causes people to get hopelessly lost deep in the forest. It's trying to make friends with them. Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks, Game Freak. That's exactly what my cute little monster catchy game needed more of. Dead children. Okay, so that's our premise. The ghost of a lost child wearing a wooden mask. So, where do we go from there? Well, I had 2 main inspirations in mind right from the get-go. Silent Hill 2 is all the rage right now, but have you ever played Silent Hill 1? For all the creepy, fleshy monsters that will tear you limb from limb in that game, one of the creatures that always freaked me out the most were the larval stalkers. These tiny little ghostly toddlers that don't actually do you any harm, but nonetheless send a chill down your spine. They are perfect as the base for our little spookified Phantump, so off I go to quickly sketch a kitty figure, using the old rule of thumb to give them a big head and a bit of noticeable baby fat punch to sell their youthful appearance. But we still need to figure out the stump mask. And this is where my second bit of inspiration gets a bit more obscure. I watch a lot of smaller indie horror movies, including international ones. And one that came to mind while making this was the Belgian Cub from 2014, where a group of scouts are menaced by a seemingly feral child and his poacher father, with the child being seen wearing this creepy wooden bark mask. I mean, it's no hollowed out stump, but it sure as heck works perfectly with what we're going for here. So on we go with drawing the mask, making it a bit more jagged and gnarly with less symmetrical branches and leaves to make it look more like the spirit just sort of picked up a piece of bark and poked holes in it so it could see. I also gave the body a more smoky effect, like it's barely managing to stay in the shape of a child, maybe even started to forget what it originally looked like. And now that we've put all this together, Phantump becomes less of a scary monster and more of a sad creature looking for companionship in its everlasting darkest hour.
Oh, I made myself sad.
A bit of messing around later, and I decided to turn it into a sort of journal page, and voila, there's our spookified Phantump. An elusive but curious spirit always seeking out new friends, all while knowing it can never really approach. Alright, that was us starting off light. So let's move on to something a bit more sinister. Pokémon that are based on objects tend to be a bit of a mixed bag for Pokémon fans. They don't make a whole lot of sense, and especially the ones that look like man-made objects raise a whole lot of questions. And I'll be completely honest with you, I kind of forgot that this Pokémon even existed until I started flipping through the Pokédex for ideas for this video. But I do think it has a lot of spooky potential. It's even right there in the name. Dhelmise, a wordplay combining the helm of a ship and demise. Ooh, spooky. After a piece of seaweed merged with debris from a sunken ship, it was reborn as this ghost Pokémon. Dhelmise just has a cool look, I think. The idea of an inbuilt compass in the wheel functioning as an eye is just great, and knowing that the seaweed is its actual body and can wrap stuff up is just delightfully creepy. In fact, Dhelmise is already so creepy that I started to wonder how I can even make it creepier at all. But that's when I noticed this little tidbit in the Pokédex. It wraps its prey in green seaweed, and sucks away their vitality. Granted, the Pokédex also says that it only hunts Wailord, but, you know, artistic license and all that junk. So I thought, what if we keep Dhelmise largely the same, but it's not satisfied with just an anchor and a wheel? After all, what worth is a wheel if there's no sailor to steer it? So I imagined this sailor drowned at sea, wrapped up along with the remaining scraps of his ship by this ghostly seaweed, and made him into a real gross rutted zombie. I even put some barnacles on him here and there to really sell the idea that he's been underwater for a while. I also decided to make him look like an old school member of Team Aqua for a bit of added dramatic irony. In life, he sought to cover the world in water. Now, in the afterlife, his entire world is underwater, as his tormented spirit is cursed to travel the ocean waves forever, searching for more debris, more treasures, and more crew members. And then I somehow managed to not save my project and deleted all my progress past the sketch stage. Thankfully, I did save a high-resolution, transparent version of the flat-colored drawing. So thanks to the darker color layer setting, I could still shade what I had and turn it into a journal page like I did with Phantump. The only catch being I had to be a little bit more careful. So, yeah. Let that be a lesson for you kids out there. Make sure to save your shit! Anyway, with some shading, some effects, and a little bit of effort, we once again have a properly spookified Pokemon. And a ghost hunting journal page to go with it. Now I know what you're thinking after that one. You're thinking, Ash, you're cheating. You just took an already creepy Pokemon and added a human ghost to it. Go back to spookifying the cute ones, you hack. And to that I say, fine, I will. Jeez, you don't have to be mean about it. For as divisive as later Pokemon generations are and all the problems a lot of people had with Scarlet and Violet in particular, I did find myself liking a lot of new Pokemon encountered in them. By the way, I'm on Team Quaxley all day, any day. And in terms of ghosts, there is one I think is perfect for this video. Gimmighoul. This Pokemon was born inside a treasure chest about 1,500 years ago. It sucks the life force out of scoundrels who try to steal the treasure. Now, Pokemon already has Mimic-style creatures in Voltorb and Electrode, since item pickups in the old games looked more like Pokeballs, so Gimmighoul seems like a kind of weird step backwards actually. But it does very explicitly have a desire to amass coins and money, and can even influence people to give it more. It's also just a plain clever name, phonetically sounding like Gimmighoul, while incorporating the word ghoul, which is a name for a particularly nasty sort of undead spirit. And that is something we can work with. So, for our spooky version of Gimmighoul, I sort of imagined it as a tortured spirit. The ghost of a greedy person, like a noble or a lender, cursed to remain within a treasure chest for eternity, only emerging to amass more coins than it will never spend. You know, kind of like how Jacob Marley is often depicted as being chained to his own money in A Christmas Carol. Going with the ghoul aspect, I tried to make it look gaunt, creepy, and skeletal, like it'll come out like a jack-in-the-box to try and drag you into the chest and eat you, like a ghoul, and then add whatever valuables you have to its hoard. As far as that goes, I think I succeeded. The real challenge was including things like Gimmighoul's antennae and its stripes, but I thought to instead make long strands of hair with coins tied to them, and to put some scars where the lines would be. Like maybe this ghost was cut in half in life by an angry mob tired of their greed and then shoved inside a treasure chest where they bled out, and Jesus, I'm getting dark. But what really sold me on spookifying Gimmighoul in particular was one of its more clever design choices. That being the eyes. Gimmighoul's eyes aren't just gold coins because it makes them look big, round, and cute. A lot of cultures have this concept of paying the ferryman upon death. That is, burying the body with a bit of money used to pay a spirit to guarantee safe travels to the afterlife. The most famous example is Charon from Greek mythology, who would take a coin from inside the deceased's mouth to take them across the river Styx. But there are also modern customs of placing 2 coins in the eyes of the deceased, though it seems no one is really quite sure where this originated. Anyway, I don't think it's a coincidence that they did this with Gimmighoul, considering the whole money ghost gimmick. So let's slap some coins on those closed eye sockets. I did play with the idea of giving him a long tongue with coin-like piercings too, but I scrapped it. It leaned a little hard into over-design, and I still wanted it to be recognizable as the Pokemon it's based on. Mess around with color for a while, and I present to you Gimmighoul, the greedy ghost that wants nothing more than your valuables.
And your life!
So, have you been spooked solid yet? Because I sure have, so I think it's best we end the video here. However, I do want to hear what you think. Which one of these 3 was your favorite? Are there other ghost Pokemon that could stand a bit of spookification? Or are there more Pokemon in general that could just be way scarier? Let me know about them in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video and click subscribe to see more videos like it in the future. But most importantly, have yourselves a spooky, spooky Halloween out there. See you in the next video, folks, and bye-bye.